are, and welcome to a typical episode of the Friday Night Movie Podcast. And we mean that in the best possible way. We're back at our roots. It's Shy, Lily, and Becky. We've had an amazing run of guests, and we're about to have another amazing run of guests because we're going to be back at South by Southwest. Becky and I will be down at the Wonder House, again, hosted by the amazing University of Arizona. It's at Cafe Blue. We'll be there March 11th through 14th at the Wonder House. We'll actually be in Austin a little bit before, a little bit after. We're going to cook up some amazing interviews. It's going to be a great experience. But before that, we're going to enjoy the calm before the storm. And we are going to catch up in a way that we have never or we haven't been able to in a little while. And believe it or not, we've been watching a lot of stuff and we have a lot of opinions to share. However, before we share opinions, we need to catch up and see how we're doing. Lily, you have a couple of stories, and to be honest,
they're very quick.
My notes, though, like one of them, like I just have the notes from what you said, the story. One of them just says Lily's vagina.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I realize that it's weird for me to say that, but that's in the notes. And I mean,
it's not like that weird for you to say it, knowing me,
but sometimes we don't tell each other what the thing is. We just give the notes so that we can enjoy the surprise. So take it away, Lily's vagina.
And I wanted to be very clear that I want to make sure Becky was on the episode for these stories. I didn't want to tell them that Becky. I'm going to go fast.
I want to be clear that it's very weird for Shy to introduce a story titled Lily's vagina.
But it's like I know we're close, but that's crossing a close line. Let's not waste time here.
Would that be the name of this episode?
No, I mean, I don't think that people need that much.
I mean,
preempt.
It'll be a real good A/B
Gwyneth Paltrow named a candle
after her vagina smell. So exactly. And I think that was the general response was ew. Okay. So first story is quick. I am invited to a activity at my son's school for the new students. So like he's 2 and he's going to be 3. So they invited like everybody who has 2-year-olds who'd like to come see the school. So an open house activity. But it was like sensorial painting. So they painted with like spices and food and stuff so that it's very Montessori. And so they tell you on the advertisement of this.
Was there a lot of like dipping your butt in paint and then?
Yeah, my child in the end he looked at all of that and he was like, this is disgusting. And where's the slide? And he just like took a beeline for the slide and didn't do any painting, which will make the story even funnier when it says, make sure you wear clothes that can get stained or get dirty or whatever. And then on the phone, when they called to confirm that I was coming to this open house, they say, okay, just remember you got to wear clothes because it's not like non-toxic paint that'll wash off. It's like cooking. It's a painting with like elements that could stay in your clothes. Make sure you wear clothes that you don't mind ruining. And I was like, okay, sure. So I go with him. I was on a Saturday morning. I dress him like he just came out of like a garbage pail because I assume the clothes have to be thrown out. And I wear shoes and clothing that would have to be thrown out. So I also look like I walked out on a Saturday morning out of a garbage dump to go to this activity at school where everyone else looked like they were at New York Fashion Week.
Wait, I have a question. Hold on a second.
I looked like a dirty hobo going to this like a school event with all these like nicely dressed like moms who looked really nice and clearly weren't going to paint.
Oh my God. And the worst part of that is that you're American. So it's like Becky, doubling down.
But
they're like, wow, Americans are trash. Americans are trash. That's what everybody thinks.
I've been in your town and I know
people think it's like a bummy beach town, but I live in like what would be like a snooty neighborhood on a very bummy beach town.
Well, also it's like, Europe, so everyone's very
it's still European, yeah. And it's like a fancy.
Like your friend Ellie's not leaving the house without like dressing up.
I mean, like she is Spanish, so she could actually wear a garbage bag and look like she's fashionable because she's beautiful. But I feel like, for an American, you kind of have to make a little bit more of an effort.
Oh, absolutely.
And I looked like trash. And I literally was one of those moments that I was like, damn it, I should know better. That's such a rookie move. Where all the other moms looked great.
Was it just your clothes or did you also do your makeup and your hair? Or were you just like, once I'm doing the clothes, I'm going to look like I look like right now on this podcast that no one's allowed to see?
The latter. It was bad.
So you didn't. So you
I didn't even
just,
make an effort because I was like, oh, we're just all painting, and the kids are like going to see the school. I did not realize that I was auditioning for mom friends, fancy mom friends.
Oh, but no,
And
but maybe
I
they'll
failed the audition.
because they'll think you're like the one who needs help.
Who like got on a scholarship to go to the school.
Yeah.
It was, and like my poor son was like, he looked like trash too. So we both just looked like trash, and everybody else brought smocks for their children under their nice clothes.
That's what wearing things.
I guess they wore like smocks so that they didn't get their clothes dirty. Anyway, so I was terribly embarrassed. And anyway, so that was pretty funny. I just had to take that as like, I should have known better. It was a very rookie move. And
We're
the
not
second
at the
story,
vagina yet, though, Lily.
no, the second story is that I purchased, and Becky will know where I'm going with this. I purchased these leggings that I would say that they were one of those times where you just buy something, you don't try it on, right? And I didn't buy them online, so it's not even that excuse.
Time I buy something.
Like I went to a store, right? Have to keep it or return it, then have to try it on. And so I bought them, and they just were like really fun. They're like kind of like a maroon with like a little bit of pant on a little bit of pink on the calf, so it's like a little two-tone thing happening, and they're adorable. The thing is that because I didn't try them on, they're a little bit big. And I was like, that's fine. They can be a little bit loose leggings. And then I went to my workout class, and I was like, I'm going to wear these. They're so comfortable. And I'm like almost through the whole workout class. And I finally, towards the end, after like almost working out for an hour, I catch myself in the mirror. And all you're getting is just like an outline of my vagina lips. Like, Becky, you have to take yourself off mute so people can hear you laughing, because like they weren't tight. And so like being so loose, it was like wearing like tight but loosey material, and it just catching the whole out. Becky knows, Becky gets it, the whole outline of the two lips. And I had done the whole class, and I was like doing something where my arms were above my head, and I kind of like, I couldn't stop to like put the weights down and put my shirt down, or like pull my like loosey leggings off of me. And so I just had to like stand there and look at it. I was like looking at myself, and I was like, oh my God, like it's almost worse if I acknowledge it now. I just have to write it through the class. But like, it's a phenomenon that I think happens sometimes in leggings or a bathing suit, as Becky knows. That like
they've had to burn more than one bathing suit.
Right. You can accidentally get the like outline trace of your vajay in certain types of pants.
I don't know. I feel like we're being trolled by these fashion brands.
Oh my God.
Did you buy this on Instagram? Because I have to tell you, if you
no, it's worse. I went to the store and I just didn't try them on.
Well,
I was like, I'm too lazy.
Let you try something on that's touching your
Well, you wear underwear. It's not a bathing suit.
What kind of underwear are you wearing that also just like, is not protecting your...
I think it was just loose underwear. I don't know. I didn't coordinate well, and the leggings were terrible. Just truly terrible. They really,
what's the brand? You got to warn people, Lily. That's sorry.
No, it's like some Spanish brand. No, it is the opposite of... No, I think if I had bought them in the correct size, it would have like scooped everything up where it's supposed to be. But it was just so embarrassing.
I don't know enough about this type of scooping. All right. And now I have other stories from Becky. Now we're in February, but when this is recorded, I don't know when it'll drop. But Becky has on our list of stories to catch up on Becky's Hanukkah story and Becky's colonoscopy. So those are both December and January stories. Beck, I don't know anything about these, but this is your notes. I love this surprise story time. This is so fun.
Surprise story time.
So I apologize because there's going to be some background noise for sure. My kids are right nearby. So holiday time, my younger one goes to a home daycare that is just run by the sweetest woman. But this woman doesn't know very much about like Jewish holidays, but she knows that we're Jewish, and she really makes an effort to try to include the Jewish holidays. So they were doing some sort of arts and crafts project with cookie cutters, and I go to drop her off one day, and she shows me these cookie cutters, and she's like, I want to be able to include your holiday Hanukkah in our activity today. Can you tell me which of these are Jewish shapes or Hanukkah shapes? And I'm looking at them and I go, okay, well that's a menorah, that's great, and that's a dreidel, yeah, that's wonderful. And that one That's a T-Rex. So that's really more of a dinosaur than it is.
But that's
A
great.
Hanukkah
Religious
cookie,
symbol.
You got.
I mean,
two
I'll
out
tell
of
you that
three. I feel like
Ar-
this is the most inclusive
Ari-
daycare I've heard of.
Ari definitely pertains to the dinosaur religion, though. Whatever that religion is, that's the one that he pertains to.
And so it was such a sincere moment. It's great. Okay, so that was then. Then a few weeks ago, I did my annual.
Wait, I'm just stop
not
back
annual.
a second. What package?
What?
I mean, so amazing sincere. What an amazing woman. But like, there was a package of cookie cutter things. They were like Hanukkah decorations. And there was is that how it came, or she just grabbed all of the
I don't
cookie
know.
cutters?
She just like showed me. No, she just like brought me these. She had like a plastic bag, like a Ziploc with a few cookie cutters in it, and it had these 3 in it, and those were the 3 in it. And she's like, "Which of these are?"
Maybe she's trying to see if you were Jewish.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
and she was like
a test.
She was like a test. She was like,
or really maybe her only reference is the Goldbergs in the episode with the Rap Judah Maccabee Dinosaur Hunter,
which is
that's what the only thing I could think of, because I was like, well, it's not really a Jewish shape, but there is a reference. I was like, I'm not going to get into it. Just go with these 2. So I'm not going to explain it, just in case. So then maybe that's why there was some confusion, because my kids listen to that song and they're like, that's so cool that Judah Maccabee hunted dinosaurs. So okay, so then about a month ago or so, I had my somewhat regular, every couple of years I go for my factory reset, clean out the desktop, as we like to say.
It's amazing.
My colonoscopy, and I counted, I think this is like my 8th or 9th.
And you don't have frivolous colonoscopies. You are someone who needs to have these medically. This is
I
really
need to have
important.
them. I obviously need to have them every.
And people should get their colonoscopies.
And if you need to have a colonoscopy, text me. I'll give you all my tips and tricks for prepping. So I'm really experienced at this point. I counted, I think it's my 8th or 9th one. I've had a lot of them in the last 20 years. So I have like the instructions from the doctor. And then I like also, again, like I said, I know from my experience how to be like really on point with it. Yeah. So I do my prep. I go in. And for those who aren't aware what a colonoscopy prep is, I mean, you're cleaning out all the pipes.
Right. The doctor doesn't want any obfuscations when they put that camera in you.
No. So I go for my appointment. I have my appointment. I have my scope. I'm in the recovery, and the doctor comes in always when you're in recovery.
This isn't like the one I got that mom tricked me into.
No,
getting
you get you get
I was
propofol.
Awake for the whole thing.
No, they put you to sleep. They just give you like a little napacito. You do some propofol. And when you wake up, the doctor comes and gives you a report. Okay, look, this is what I'm seeing. We did some biopsies, this and that. And he comes in, and keep in mind, this is, I think, my 9th colonoscopy. Never in 9 colonoscopies with 4 different doctors in 2 different countries has anybody said this to me. He goes, I have to say, that was the best clean out I've ever seen. Oh. And I was like so proud that
you didn't leave any bits behind.
He literally said, he goes, there was nothing in there. There was nothing.
And that they do the whole, they do the whole small intestine?
No, they
You're like the Marie Kondo of colon.
But it's very far.
Marie Kondo. It's very far. I think it's like the whole, it's like a lot of meters.
No, it's more. Yeah. Oh no, the large through the small intestine. Yeah.
Right. I think they do. Yeah. It's a lot.
And so I
or is it or maybe it's the colon and the large.
The highest compliment one could receive from a gastroenterologist on scope day. The best clean out I have seen. No. I'm like, yeah, you're right. That was the best clean out you've ever seen. 9 scopes in. I know what I'm doing. I got my tips.
You're like,
I feel like there was ever a day to try butt stuff. That's the day.
Oh. That we have
so clean in there.
There's so many different names for this episode. Okay. I just have to move on. You've beat me.
It's
You
like
beat
what
me.
Sarah Silverman says. She uses a bidet and she's 2 inches clean. That's what it says.
Ew.
By the way,
2
speaking of
inches
Sarah
deep
Silverman, just
clean.
things we did recently. Becky and I saw her live.
Oh, how was
and
it?
It was awesome. She was. It was the beginning of her tour, so she was working out some of the bits. But she's still just a master. I mean, she's a master. She's amazing. She's so funny. Her Jewish stuff was so funny. And the
Yeah,
person that opened
it
for
was
her,
great.
Rory Albanese, which I didn't, a former showrunner of the Daily Show, I realized after the fact that it was her boyfriend. So it was really sweet. Like the two of them are
Aw,
traveling together. They're
that's
on this big
cute.
tour.
It was great.
It was great. So let's get into some reviews and catch ups. And I would say like the biggest event show that we watched recently, all of us watched, was The Resort.
I think that, that's one of the
Ugh,
few things the
yeah.
3 of us have seen.
All of
Right?
the
Because
pretty much at the same time.
yeah,
we
because
were a
we've
little
all been watching
behind.
different stuff.
And I'll say I'll start with my own little review, which is like I loved the characters and the actors in this show. Like, however much I love White Lotus because it has some similar White Lotus-y things, it's much more optimistic than White Lotus. Like Skylar Gisondo, what's the
Nina Bloomgarden,
Nina Bloomgarden,
Christina
Nick Offerman, who's like in a
yeah.
zone right now that I don't think anybody's in terms of what he's like in the Jennifer Coolidge zone of
but
amazing
like
performances and like creating memorable characters. The guy who plays Balthazar, just everything about that show. And
everyone,
and Milioti and Chidi. Poor guy, always call him Chidi because
he's always just, but it's just because in our hearts he's always going to be Chidi
or somebody Williams.
I love
he's
him,
just
but he's
Chidi.
just he's just Chidi in my heart for always, forever.
I mean, so the actors,
but I loved him in this,
in the characters, like A+++++. Loved it.
William Jackson Harper. I was close.
Got it.
Jesse Williams something. That's what I said.
Jesse Williams Saperstein. Lily.
Yeah. William Jackson Harper.
So I really loved that. I think like the more and more I sat in the ending, which is there a sequel? I can't really tell. It's ultimately a beautifully philosophical show, and so I like that element. But it was also fun watching with Allie because we're tired, we're parents. It took a long time to get through the show for us, and at the end, Allie's response was just like, like what was the like? She's like, I think this is just kind of dumb, and I said it wasn't dumb, but it was a lot like Flight of the Navigator, that movie in the 80s where the kid goes out into the
Henry
woods,
Thomas.
falls asleep, wakes up
that movie.
like 15 years or 20 years later. Like there was an element to that I just didn't see coming, that I just couldn't tell what was going on. But that's, I guess, this artist's approach.
Right. It's the same.
And,
right.
And by the way, Allie agreed with me on the characters and everything positive I said. But I think the story for her was just, she didn't get it.
Palm Springs, which is, I believe it's the same writer as Palm Springs.
It is really similar to Palm Springs in that I love the actors and the characters, and at a certain point the story is immaterial to the message.
But I think that's it. And like this type of show and the movie that, and Palm Springs as well, you're not supposed to get hung up on the like time travel of it all or the looping of it all or whatever it is that is the gimmick of time that is being used, or the philosophical discussion that they're having about time. It's not meant to try and be like realistic like we try to do in like Back to the Future, where you spend like many hours making sure that like space continuum is accurate. That's not what this is about. This is more about the characters and the meaning of memory and
grief.
And exactly loss.
And I think like the ultimate message is, and this is a very difficult message because in some ways I think the show says everyone does it differently, but it just kind of illuminates the consequences of being so taken by your grief that you lose 15 years of your life, and other people don't do that, but it still hurts. And that element I really sat with and I thought was incredibly beautiful. And Allie too. Allie agreed with that. I think
And I
that,
believe they're brothers there. Like there's many writers on this, but the two that wrote Palm Springs are brothers, which I find interesting.
that's cool. We love sibling.
We love
collaborators.
sibling
We love sibling
collaborators,
collaborators. So I
exactly.
think this is, you know what it was? I was kept trying to say, like, what is this? White Lotus meets something else. And White Lotus meets Palm Springs is obvious. For me, in the end, it was like White Lotus meets 2001 Space Odyssey, because it was following this somewhat like creepy, you're not sure what's real and what's not, but it was a mystery plot. And then at the end, it just goes into psychedelic ending. Like there's, kind of psychedelic ending, and it almost, it doesn't matter. And not knowing is part of the overall message of existence, which I thought was beautiful.
But I think they also build towards that with the character. With Alex, is that the resort owner's name? They build
Alex,
towards
yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Doesn't come out of left
I had
field.
forgotten about him by the time we got to the end.
Well,
I
except
think
that he's in like the last. Did you fall asleep? Because he's in an important scene towards the end that ties it all together with the cell phones.
Yeah, that is
Placing of
definitely
the cell
something I
phones.
missed because
Yeah.
because well, you're something like he planted everything or something. Is that the story?
Yeah, exactly. He obviously has been traveling back and forth through time, and he set it up so that Kristen Milioti, what's her name, Emma, and Chidi, Noah, the character Noah, find them. That
Why wouldn't he just save people himself?
Well, I think that Emma and Noah needed to save them. Right? I think he's giving.
Oh, right. To help these people.
He's helping Emma and Noah. That's why the whole thing of like, if you wouldn't be involved in the story if you didn't experience loss, like everybody who is involved had some sort of loss.
Well, that's really.
And
I mean,
so
it's really.
Alex is
bringing
it full circle, and
really,
he allows. I think he allows Nina Bloomgarden's character, Violet and Sam, because they're Violet's looking for something for loss. I think there's a lot of ways you can interpret it, but Alex definitely orchestrates it to some extent. I think, although I'm not the authority because I never understand apparently what happens in shows. Becky's the one that could correct both of us.
It was just, I mean, like it's sat in my heart, this show, for many, 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 many days. Even if I can't like tell you everything that happened in it, and the characters, like I feel like I know them. And the performances are just off the charts amazing. And in contrast to something like White Lotus, this is it's heart-wrenching, but it's very optimistic. And I love that.
And I have to say, like, there's a thread in the show about something, a very serious loss. I think that's like, well, the girl loses her mom, and like there's people who are experiencing loss throughout the whole show, but in different ways. But the main character, say one of the main character, has like a terrible situation with loss with a child. And I think that the way that it doesn't become like tragedy porn or like something that's just, takes over the whole show. It's this thing that like you're watching somebody who's just living with extreme grief, but who is wrapped up in this story. And so it's, I think, done really beautifully and respectfully. And it's an important through line, I think, that, for a female character in a show to have, it's a type of loss that's not often talked about. And it's, it was, I thought it was really well done, really well acted. And I like the whole idea of it. And I don't need to sometimes I have to understand everything to like a show. Like I need to get it. And this is the kind of show where I'm like, oh, it doesn't matter. Whatever. I loved it. Whatever it is, it's happening. I'm good. Because I think that the characters really bring that. Plus, the Easter egg of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend in this show, if you watch that show, that the two Teds are from the law firm. Oh my gosh, did you even watch this show? The two guys that are married that bring the helicopter at the end.
Oh yeah,
they're both from the law firm in Crazy Ex-Girlfriend.
Oh yeah, so they didn't make a huge impact on me, but I know what you're talking about.
I love those actors. Anyways, I like the show. I recommend it.
Check out Peacock, and let's talk a little bit more about Peacock, because I've been recommending a few Peacock things to people, and they're like, I don't want to pay for another service. Peacock's one of the
Can't they watch it through Hulu, or no? You still have to pay for it?
It depends on when it aired, but you can watch it on Peacock. I find Peacock to be the most underrated. Peacock and Paramount are kind of the most underrated ones because
they're not the same?
They're not the same. One's CBS Viacom, one's NBC Universal.
Well, they really should just merge because
those are like the two. They're huge competitors.
That's ridiculous.
They shouldn't merge.
That's too many services.
No, they shouldn't merge. We don't want cable back. But the point is that the other show that I just started is Poker Face. Have you all watched any Poker Face?
I have not, but I'm a huge Natasha fan.
I've been wanting, my last 2 trips, I've been wanting to download it and watch it, but I don't get Peacock because I keep thinking Paramount Plus, which I do have, is Peacock. So I got to do a switcheroo. I got to cancel Paramount and get Peacock. But I've been trying to watch it.
Okay. Oh, so you just keep going into Paramount being like, this show is not on TV. What are people?
Yeah, I keep on going because I get Paramount through my Prime account. And I keep going into Prime being like, where is Poker Face? Why isn't, and it keeps on showing me this old movie that's also called Poker Face.
They definitely blew it by having them both start with a P. Like Peacock could easily be rebranded as Universal. And
right. Exactly. I think that's, there's a confusion there.
Like I get it, the Peacock NBC, but like no one's that attached to the Peacock. And Paramount, whatever. Anyways, they could have also just called that CBS. But the other thing here is so what I love about Poker Face is this, and I was watching it, and it was just one of those things where I'm like,
the Bratnaissance.
I thought
Benjamin Bratt is in the show.
Well, first of all, Benjamin Bratt situation.
I know.
Like, love this show. It's got a great mystery. The movie, it's very 90s in its aesthetic, and it actually, there's an Easter egg of them watching Pulp Fiction in it, and the show, the first episode, the pilot, which is almost like a movie in itself, is like Pulp Fiction because it's told from different perspectives, and it has that 90s edge, whatever. But I'm also watching it saying, Natasha Lyonne is amazing in this. She's embodying Peter Falk here. She's like the Columbo of this era. And so who did I text right away? Gabe Diani. Diani and Divine. Meet the Apocalypse, The Cellar, huge Peter Falk fan. The Cellar, everyone should watch their movies. They're amazing. The Selling. And Diani and Divine Meet the Apocalypse. I texted Gabe, who's a huge Peter Falk fan, and I said, Gabe, Natasha Lyonne's like the Peter Falk. Am I right to think she's the Peter Falk of our era? And he said, yeah, but apparently the internet had already decided that because of Russian Doll. And that's part of how this show got created.
I was going to say
she could be the new Columbo. And so that's a little bit what this show is like, only there's a broader mystery
also
run, and it's cool.
Also, if you read the cast of this show and then you keep reading it and then you keep scrolling and keep reading it,
show because I just want to be surprised.
It seems like a joke.
Adrian freaking like the first episode is like a movie with Adrian. Like if you told me there was a movie with Natasha Lyonne, Adrian Brody, and Benjamin Bratt.
Like there are some people that are in more episodes versus other people, but then there's some people that are just one episode. And I won't tell you the cast, but you won't even believe. Like it's crazy. Good.
And Natasha Lyonne, so awesome, so cool. Oh, and this is Ryan Johnson.
I was going to say your nemesis has created this show
anymore. Because Glass Onion was such a good movie, and it was so.
It's just he shouldn't be allowed to make Star Wars movies.
Right, he's an amazing noir.
That's it.
Like if you go back to Brick, he's amazing. Like so, I haven't forgiven Ryan Johnson, but I am back to thinking he is a great filmmaker, and I'm not mad at him anymore because he does this noir thing like better than anyone maybe these days. So good for him. Okay, so that's my pitch on that one. Let's just go around the horn now. We have so much stuff we've watched. Beck, what are you watching?
I'm gonna go first in case I have to duck out early. Okay, so I've had a lot of plane rides lately. I've seen a whole bunch of movies. First one I saw was this movie on Netflix called Lou with Allison Janney and Smollett. What's her name?
Journey.
Journey Smollett.
Journey is the sister. Journey Smollett.
The one who is in
have you guys heard of this one?
No.
Yeah. Have you guys heard of this one?
Heard of it. I haven't seen it though.
So basically, Journey Smollett's it takes place in the 80s. Yeah, in the 80s. Journey Smollett's daughter, they live on this like remote island. Journey Smollett rents a house from this like cranky, mean older woman, Allison Janney, who's just like Yeah,
Looks like
she's
Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween here, like in the later Halloween movie.
Yeah, she's just
with the long hair.
She's like antisocial, a bit of a recluse. Like she's just, like not a nice woman. Jerry Smollett rents a house on her property from her, and her daughter gets kidnapped one night during a storm. And very Taken style, Allison Janney is a woman with a special set of skills, is going to use those skills to get the daughter back.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yes. So
I'm so glad you saw
movie.
it.
So is this actually good?
It's a
This
Netflix
isn't
movie.
like the
Here's the thing about it.
Epidemiologist or whatever those other movies are.
I really enjoyed watching it. I thought it was really good. I actually think the weakest part of the film is that they gave it a twist. And I'm like, this movie didn't need a twist. It was fine just being straightforward, a woman with a special set of skills. I think more backstory and twist for me was
like
entirely unnecessary because
keep it simple.
Like the premise itself had me hooked. And then I think they were like giving you all these, and then there's like this mystery and that mystery, and they're going to give you a twist. And like maybe for some people, they're like, oh, that made the characters come more to life. I was like, I really didn't need it. It was just like extra stuff.
Twists
because the straight,
but they can be a gimmick.
Yeah. So for me, watching Allison Janney have a special set of skills to retrieve this, like to track and retrieve this kidnapped daughter, I was like, amazing.
I love
and also
that's a great team up.
In the rain, in the rain at night. Like I cannot imagine being on this shoot. It looked so miserable. They were like covered in mud and looked cold and wet. And so
the one thing I love about this is that there's this actor in this, character actor Matt Craven, who's been around forever. He's Canadian. He's in The Hunt for Red October, A Few Good Men, X-Men First Class. Like I just love seeing like he's a dad character actor special, and I'm very
they're so and it's great actors. And so I feel like this is a classic like Friday night movie. You're staying home, you're gonna like watch something that's gonna be a good sort of actiony plot twist. Then sorry.
It's okay. The kids endorse Lou also.
Yeah, they also do. Go watch shows with your sister. Go watch shows.
This is everyone.
No, YouTube doesn't work right now.
Catch-up episode. Negotiating with
I can go if you need a minute. I can go, and then we can go back to you.
Is one of the most fun things in the world.
So
when I went to their house,
then I finally,
and I gave them unicorn cotton candy the other day. Negotiating with them about how much they were going to get. It makes me want to bring them cotton candy every day. So even though
you should definitely bring them cotton candy every day. Becky will love that.
Like even if I lose the negotiation, I win.
Yeah, 100%.
They're the best. Wait, so then I also saw on an airplane.
Wait, it does seem like a lose situation for Becky though.
No, for Vlad. Becky.
Listen, as long as my kids are engaged and not asking me for stuff, I really don't care what's going on. I also saw Don't Worry, Darling.
No, you did. Yeah. I really want to see that.
I've seen it and talked to both of you about it.
Yeah, I'm saying you've seen it. So I did see it. Okay, you might have to go because we're starting to melt down. What else? What's on my list?
Did you like it?
The Last of Us.
You didn't tell us.
I
Did you like it?
Oh, I really liked it. I liked the movie. I liked the twist. I saw it on an airplane. I think that made it even better. I thought it was a great watch. I feel like totally worth watching.
Right,
it was like a fun,
the drama
cool
around
watch.
That movie. It looked like a cool movie.
Yeah. It's just a cool movie. I think it's just like straight up a cool movie. There's a couple of things about it I fully did not understand because hold on, please let me finish my sentence. I want to tell you something. She needs to tell me something. Sorry. What do you need to tell me? Okay. Oh, we have a tummy ache. Hold on. All right. Maybe Lily, you should go. But I do want to say
I'm up to date on The Last of Us.
Understand. There's certain things I didn't understand, and I'm not sure if it's because I saw it on an airplane or because certain things just didn't make sense. But overall, I loved it. I started The Last of Us. It's not scary, which is weird for me to say. Like I watch it going, mushrooms aren't scary. Like I'm just not scared by this. Mushrooms aren't scary.
It's a much less scary Walking Dead. Much less scary.
It's a much less scary Walking Dead. So I did start that, and
I don't know how far you've gotten, but talk about. I was going to say the
third episode that everyone's talking about.
Yeah, the Nick Offerman.
I hear that
like
even if you
massive.
never watch the show,
you don't need to watch the series at all. Like there's there's nothing that would, it's like a capsule episode. I would say there's a few minutes at the beginning and a few minutes at the end
that's fine. They're trying to survive the apocalypse. Got it.
Yeah, that are like have a through line about like it's the beginning and the end are bookended by a story that's happening from the previous episode. It would take you 3 seconds to figure out what's happening. And like someone has died. That's it. Like
if we're talking about The Last of Us, we have to talk about at Michelle N. Reed, Michelle, who's been on our show, who is an amazing cosplayer.
Yeah.
The only reason why I know about The Last of Us, HBO should send her a check because she has done this cosplay of Ellie, who is one of the characters.
Ellie is the girl that Pedro Pascal is helping
protecting forever. She's been doing this character, and if I watch the show, it will be entirely because she has made me aware.
I think this is a show that you will like. I don't know why you never watched The Walking Dead. That seems like very much like you, but it's
like the humanity. So like
in all of these
freaks me out.
Well, okay, so I would say that in The Walking Dead, it's taken to such an extreme graphic, like it comes from a graphic novel. It's such an extreme, like it's so extreme and so difficult at points, and it cuts through it cuts through your heart at such a deep level that it's a brilliant show. But you have to really like be able to sit through that. This so far, I've seen all 4 episodes that have been released, and I would say that this comes from a video game. And I think that there's a big difference that the source material is a video game versus the source material being a graphic novel. And the video game, that's not to say that it's not emotional, and there's some really great moments. And episode 3 is probably one of the coolest episodes of TV I've ever seen. It reminds me a little bit of in Hunters episode 7, I believe, about the house, in the sense that it's just a cool thing to watch.
It's a great episode.
Well, we'll get Becky's take on it in a sec. It's not the best episode of TV I've ever seen, in the sense that it's not like, I think episode 7 of Hunters blew my mind. This was a beautiful storytelling, and Nick Offerman, it's just like to watch him. And I know his wife, Megan Mullally, I don't know how to pronounce her last name. She convinced him to do it. She read the script and was like, you have to do this part. And because like she read it and was like, this is brilliant. It also has the guy from White Lotus, who's also in Chippendales, which I'm watching, Murray Bartlett, who's also like, oh my God, that guy's career, we like our clock is ticking, waiting for that guy to have his career blow up. I'm so glad, because he's so excellent.
I mean, he just won an Emmy. He's doing pretty well.
Yeah, but like he's like been an actor for a very, very long time, and I feel like White Lotus really, got him noticed. And so, my computer had something to say. And so, I think Shai, The Last of Us it has that video game aspect in like the way The Witcher does too, where like a monster will come out, but it's like a very video gamey thing. And I think you'll like it a lot. And so far, the bad humans that I've seen are characters that are interesting, like in an action movie. It's not so terrorizing or anything like that. And you got Melanie Linsky is in it.
Oh, she's so cool.
She's so cool. And Pedro Pascal is great. He also was like, he's acting a little bit more than the Mandalorian. It's like but he's so good at that. So like, I'm like, who cares? He's great.
I just want to say one thing about episode 3, which is fantastic. It is fantastic, and it's a great capsule episode if it was its own like short. But like as far as the story goes, all that happens is they get a truck. So you've also watched this whole episode of it's only the 3rd episode. This isn't at the end of the 2nd season. So you've only had 2 episodes of these characters in the story. The only thing that happens as far as forward progress goes is they get a truck.
Well, you could say the same thing about episode 7 of Hunters.
But you've spent 2 seasons building this world. And
sure, I do think that Bill is an important character in the game, and has impact maybe like overall.
Maybe we don't understand it, but I do agree it was fantastic. Okay, so while my kids are being quiet before I have to go, I just watched on the plane yesterday, I Love My Dad with Patton Oswalt.
Saw that at South by last year.
I mean,
yeah, Shai recommended it. That's true.
Whoa, Shai. I wonder how much of that is
it's like
really happened
autobiographical,
that way,
sort of,
because
right?
that's insane.
Isn't it like an autobiographical movie?
Yeah, it's fantastic, and I really recommend it. I don't
It's
even remember
twisted.
where I watched, what service I think I saw it on Hulu. I think I downloaded it from Hulu or something. But it's twisted and really well made, and twisted and great. And then I saw with my kids, I do want to recommend. I saw it with my kids, the new Puss in Boots movie. I don't know if I recommended
I love
that.
the
I thought it was
premise of
fantastic.
it. I
It
love
was
the premise.
fantastic.
You know, I have a
Um,
friend though. I have this friend, Shayna Hofstetter. And one
Oh
of the
my
funniest
gosh.
things
The
I've ever heard.
5-year-old is chiming in because she just heard me say Puss in Boots. And she's like, wait a minute, you have to tell them about it. It is now explaining the whole premise of the movie.
I mean,
So it's,
you decide
was a
how much
hit.
you want your kids involved in the show. But if
I
she
don't want
wants
them
to,
involved in
okay,
the show. No,
if
we're
she
not
wants to
talking.
explain the plot,
And
that's some
then,
Patreon content.
and then lastly, but she does have a
Wait,
lot of
can I-
thoughts on
Let
characters
me
if
just
someone
finish. My
wants to set
friend
up a
Shayna
one-on-one.
calls
Mhm.
Puss in Boots Puss in Boots because
Ew.
it's spelled.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
It's
kind of funny.
disgusting. And then lastly, I started watching, but I haven't had a chance to finish yet. This movie called "I'm Totally Fine" with Jillian Bell and oh my gosh, I'm blanking on her name. She was on Parks and Rec, Tom's like girlfriend.
Oh.
What's her name?
Oh, Natalie Morales?
Natalie Morales. Yeah, Natalie Morales and Jillian Bell. And
She's
the
amazing.
premise is fantastic. I'm only about halfway through. The two of them are best childhood friends and business co-owners, except Natalie Morales has passed away, has died suddenly, like a couple weeks before the start of the film.
Right.
And Jillian Bell is spending kind of like a weekend alone to process her friend's death. And her friend reappears, but her friend is not really her friend. It's an alien. And she's like, I'm not your friend. I'm an alien here to study you. But since I contain all your friend's memories, you can spend 2 more days with your friend if you let me like
so
run all these
sweet.
experiments.
It's
and
called I'm
tests on
Totally
you.
Fine.
Yeah, I'm totally fine.
This
and
sounds
it's
very sweet.
so far, it's such like a different take on the sort of I'm seeing a ghost.
There's a lot of that stuff
thing,
right now, and I'm loving all of it.
And this version of it,
Shai's
was not
watching.
a ghost; it's an alien who's inhabited her body. It's so good so far. I'm only halfway through, so.
When were you watching
But
that?
I think I either I downloaded it on Prime or I rented it for like $2 or $3. Maybe I rented it for a couple dollars on Prime. I can't. Right?
No, it's available on Hulu. It's available on Hulu.
Then that's what I'm watching on Hulu, and yeah, it's really wonderful.
And that's called I'm Totally Fine. Cute.
Yeah,
that looks awesome.
So
I'm gonna watch that like right away.
That's
I love Natalie Morales and Jillian Bell. Oh my goodness.
And they're both fantastic in it so far, and it's really it's just the two of them. I mean, it's just the two of them alone in a house.
The guy from Workaholics, Blake Anderson.
He plays Jillian Bell's boyfriend, who keeps FaceTiming her throughout. He's very sweet.
No, this looks
all right,
great.
yeah. So that's what I see.
Like Duplass vibes, but
yeah,
but more optimistic
but
and
happier.
sweet.
Yeah, but more optimistic.
No one gets murdered at the end. We hope.
Yeah. Lil Beck, these are amazing recommendations. Thank you. If you have to go,
you're welcome. I do have to go.
This is great. There's so many things here I want to watch.
I'm gonna like hang on and listen, but I'm gonna be on mute. All right.
Lily, what have you? I have a big list too, but Lily,
I imagine your list is huge, Shai, because if I have a ton of stuff, you must have all the stuff.
I have some weird stuff because when you finish something really good, like a resort or like Chippendales, like I had a run of things that I finished that were so good that you get kind of confused about what you're going to watch next. So
right. So we watched Euphoria. I had never seen it. We watched the first 2 seasons and then one of the specials. And holy shit, like I think I understand why the show gets so many accolades and why Zendaya gets all the awards and like give her all the awards. I think that show is something like I feel old when I watch it because I'm like that parent that's watching it and is like, wait, what? And it's obviously extreme and an extreme case, study of these kids and or whatever, the lives of these kids, like the way 90210 was so extreme for us when we were kids. And, there was so much stuff in it that was like, honestly, really, but geez, it hits on some themes that are, wow, that I just think, of course, addiction is a main part of it, but sexuality, and it's beautifully acted and really well written, and it's probably one of the most beautifully shot television shows I've ever seen. The cinematography and the lighting in that show, it's like every episode is a movie, and the dialogue is like, I mean, anyways, I'm blown away, and it's not an easy show to watch, so yeah, but I do highly recommend it. And then we watched The Menu, which I think if people are foodies and stuff, they might appreciate. I thought the first half was excellent, and I love all the bits about high, gourmet, high society type food. Sorry. And the fact that they keep putting the menu items on the screen as if you're at a meal is brilliant. There's so many brilliant things about it. I just need to comment that I feel like they could have taken the commentary in the film a layer deeper. And I think the message of the film was just like, rich people are bad and should be punished. And I'm not sure that that's a constructive nor fair, like,
I thought it was, I thought that
criticism or critique.
I thought that element was lazy.
Right. Like, I think you could have done more work there.
The line in the movie that really, I thought was really upsetting to me, because I think it perpetuates a sort of like intra-societal conflict. Like, there are things that are not fair, but there's a line where they justify killing a young woman who, by all accounts, might be a little bit selfish, but is not a bad person.
Right. She
easily could have been a character that was saved. And then the justification within the story of her being murdered is that she went to an Ivy League school and didn't have any student loans, and therefore
and that line was
unforgivable. And I feel like there's people in the audience who probably laughed at that and thought that was funny. Now, we
or
didn't
like,
go to Ivy League schools, but we definitely grew up with privilege, and we're honest about that.
And I think and I think the guys there's a group of guys in the movie that are committing money fraud, and like they're like committing fraud with like the stakes of a company, and like success. So like that is
I'm not saying they deserve to be murdered either, but like
right, but like I understand the critique there. That has like a deeper critique, but like there's other characters that I was just like, what? Because like these people just like to spend their money at your restaurant, then you should punish them.
And they didn't appreciate your food. That makes him crazy and evil. But I felt like the moment when they said that this woman deserves to die, it was like
bad.
Bye, Beck. It was like a fourth wall moment. It was like this fourth wall moment to the audience, being like you're not supposed to be on board with all of the murders, but this one was like a look at the audience saying like, it's okay to murder this young woman who, by all accounts, was doing her job and was loyal to this guy, and the only reason why she was there was that she was
right. I feel like it could have been a great movie, but it missed the mark. But I know a lot of people that really liked it. So if
I really liked it, I did really like it. I think that part in a vacuum to me really bothered me. I loved Anya Taylor-Joy in the role.
She's amazing in anything.
I mean, every actor in it was amazing.
Yeah,
like Nicholas Hoult.
Right,
Nicholas Hoult was amazing because
it was amazing.
Despicable.
And Ralph Fiennes,
Hong Chow was incredible.
Yeah, she's incredible
as the loyal.
She's in Lovecraft, right? She's right. She's in love. She's amazing too. Anyways, it could have been better, but I think that people will like it. Oh, sorry, Watchmen. That's what it is, not Lovecraft. Right. True. Right. Exactly. And Watchmen.
We watch those shows around the
same time. I always confuse them. And then we mentioned The Last of Us.
In Poker Face. Oh.
Don't look up. Maybe now you can't. Now you can't do IMDb anymore because chances are some great actor is going to be in Poker Face, so it's going to ruin it for you. Of course, Leave It to Me to watch Reese Witherspoon's new rom-com, Your Place or Mine. I'm sorry Becky's not here on the episode anymore to talk about it.
Sure, Allie is either.
Allie has already watched it twice. I'm sure, once on the elliptical. I wanted to hate it because I felt like they don't have great chemistry, and I felt like it was so formed. It's Kutcher. It's Kutcher and Witherspoon, and I'm like, that's not good chemistry. And then I wanted to hate it because I was like, oh, this is so formulaic. But like, the truth is, I'm a sucker. And like, you put Tig Notaro and Steve Zahn in the movie as like the side funny characters, and and I'm like, God damn it, every single scene. Oh, and gosh, this actress. Hold on, I don't want to get her name wrong. Zoe Chow plays Minka in it. Zoe Chow is amazing. She was in After Party as the love interest. She's so great in it too. They like kind of like let her like have this really zany, fun character. And so the side characters make up for like the sort of like, the classic.
It's so tough when you have a rom-com where, like it's almost like those, because there's so many rom-coms, it's the side characters that
make the difference.
Pump it up. It's like Along Came Polly, which I love that movie.
Okay. I think just you, but yeah.
Philip Seymour Hoffman in it.
Right. Oh my God. On another level. Yeah, exactly. Well, I loved the side characters in this, and that made a lot better. And then, it's Reese. It's
in some ways, maybe rom-coms, there should be rom-coms just about the side characters.
I think you're onto something.
Right.
But yeah, like I think Reese is Reese and she's the best. And, the minute you put Tig Notaro in your movie, she will be the best, like the funniest part. And so that's on you. Because
if anyone has a chance to see her stand up, oh my gosh.
Yeah. And then I'll go quick. Lyle Crocodile with my 6-year-old he thought it was hilarious. But like that's what Javier Bardem is doing right now. He is in Lyle Crocodile singing and dancing. I'm just saying, like that's like he's got kids, man.
I mean, he's got an Oscar for No Country for Old Men.
He can do it to the fuck
doesn't have to do anything ever again.
But it was really cute. And my 6-year-old, if you got 6-year-olds, like a 6-year-old-ish age, he thought it was hilarious. We've also been watching Absurd Planet, which I highly recommend. That is on Netflix. It is narrated by Mother Nature. And her narration is 100% for the parents. She says,
"Who's the Mother Nature on it?"
The actress or the voice actor. I have to get the name. Is Afi Akulona, and I think the writing is so funny. Like, because a lot of stuff that animals do are disgusting and weird and like really bizarre, right? Like in the way animal like kingdoms work and in their little animal universe. And her commentary is amazing. Plus they show you some really weird stuff. And again, the 6-year-old loving it, but also these are 19-minute episodes and I am laughing.
My kids love animal things. This seems amazing.
Yeah. And so I really recommend that.
This episode is gold. I shouldn't be reviewing our own episode, but this is
but we're doing a really big favor for people here. And then I have to close it out with
a good family thing.
Oh, it is a great family thing. I'm loving Chippendales. We're halfway through,
which includes a song by the great Dan Byrne,
which is amazing.
Just showing how versatile and incredible he is.
He is, and I read the article about the story in Vanity Fair years ago, and it definitely. I love the way they put it together, and I mean it's a sad story in the end, but it's really interesting, and I think people don't know enough about this pretty wild and messed up story. And then I don't know if you're gonna like this show. Allie is going to love it. I think you will like it though, because Shrinking. Yeah.
I really want to see Shrinking.
I'm all up to date on that.
I've
seen 4 episodes. It is so well written. Like, holy shit, Brett Goldstein. Like, where did you come from? And what have you given us as a culture?
You told me I had nice shoes.
I mean, honestly, he's such a sweetheart. And like, there's so much heart in his work. Now, like we can discuss and debate like Ted Lasso season 2. I'm so excited for season 3. I feel like it lost its way a little bit, but then it really brought it back at the end.
Oh, and then, I love where it's going at the end.
Yeah, I love where it's going at the end.
Is one of the best.
But like season 2s of shows are often like very clunky and weird a lot of the time. Like they kind of need to pull it through to season 3.
Season of the show.
Right. It's one or the other. And I think that I don't know how.
They have to break up the band in a second season, right? That's what the second season to expand the world,
right?
Break up the band. You're setting up a lot because you've made it through. Like that first season is a. But to like story.
have made Ted Lasso, and you're like, oh, I want to make another like interesting, a bit sadder but feel good story for people to watch with incredible actors. Hold on, give me a second, Apple Plus. I'll be right back. And like that's what he did on a silver platter with Harrison fucking Ford, man. Like, who got Harrison Ford to be in the show? This guy.
Well,
and
he did he?
he's
He personally got him to do it?
Well, I think the story goes that I don't know, Harrison Ford got the script. It said it was one of the best scripts he's ever read and then agreed to do it. So,
I mean, and Harrison Ford at this point has very weird taste, right?
And he could do whatever he wants or he could do nothing.
And,
he
well,
could sit at home.
I mean, as far as I understand it, he said he's just going to work until he just wants to keep working. But he also is picky.
But he does pretty high quality stuff. Like he's not just doing.
He does, but he also did that
boring.
one where it was him and the dog in the woods. Like he played a dog and then did a movie with a dog back to back.
Oh, that's a good point. It's an interesting point.
And complains about having to be in movies with Chewbacca.
Right.
Like I'm glad he just if he.
I mean, I think he's a bit curmudgeon-y, but he's excellent. And Jason Segel deserves a show. He should be in a show.
You know what?
And Luke Tenney is also. I mean, it's great. The cast is fantastic. So I highly recommend it.
I don't remember loving this whole movie, but there's a movie. Is it
Regarding Henry? I've seen that too many times, but I love it.
It's that Regarding Henry. He's great, and he's great in it. No,
he's great.
The
Fugitive.
It's not called The Morning Show. That's the TV show.
It's a movie where he's
is it Rachel McAdams?
Yes.
And
yes.
she's producing the equivalent of the Today Show.
Of the Today Show.
There's a scene where his character makes a frittata, and he and it's his way of sort of showing he's sort of honoring his friendship with this young woman and respecting her role as a producer.
The Morning Glory.
Morning Glory. So I was close. Amazing acting.
Was it Diane Keaton?
Very different role for him because he's like this.
And I have to say, like, I don't know if we accumulated the hours of therapy that I have had individually. It's definitely years of my life that I could sum up. And you've got Jessica Williams, Segel, and Harrison Ford. They're all therapists working in the same clinic. And so it's about Jason Segel, but you'll get the break room where like they're just like talking about their patients and like riffing with each other, and they all have this like psychology knowledge, and it's so great. God, if you've been to therapy, this show will be amazing. And if you haven't, it'll make you want to go to therapy.
To me though, and I don't know if this is possible, maybe like if I had time, I want to just supercut it, but it just strikes me that this show is if they turned Jack Antonoff's The Bleachers, I Want to Get Better into a show.
There's an element. Yes, there is an element.
Song,
yes.
Like you could do a supercut of the video, but
there's definitely, I would say like that's the twist. Like there's that twist that connects to the video. Sure.
There's a reason why. Like the reason why I haven't watched it yet is just because this is when I absolutely want to like really soak up and enjoy with Alec.
Yeah, you want to pay attention. It's very funny too. All right,
let's go through some of my recs here. Okay, so number one, a guest we had a couple of weeks ago, Esther Steinberg. Let's just talk about how freaking hilarious and brilliant she
funny
is. And obviously, if you have an opportunity to see her stand up, go see it. But check out her Instagram because she posts clips of her stuff, but she also just has observations on parenting sometimes where she does a direct to camera narration of her life with her two kids. That is just so funny and authentic. And I love it. So is it Esther Steinberg or Esther?
I think it is.
Esther, hold on. Let's get it right. It's Esther.Steinberg. And go back and listen to our episode, but go follow her Instagram. She's hilarious. And her specials, Burning Bush and Hebrew School Dropout. Okay. Finished Dead to Me. What a beautiful show. What a triumph of acting and writing.
Isn't it good?
And that was a show that I couldn't watch fast because it was emotionally very difficult, but like what an incredible tribute to friendship. And I saw where the ending was going and I loved it. And I thought it was so beautiful. I just think, Christina Applegate and Linda Cardellini and Marsden, like off the charts. And everyone in that show is a real triumph. My new comfort show is called Not Dead Yet. The algorithm recommended this. I mentioned this in another episode. Gina Rodriguez is incredible, and it's another ghosts helping a living person, but I don't care. It's great. She's an obituary writer, and every week she gets visited by a different ghost.
This is your algorithm.
She's incredibly charming. There's a really interesting relationship between her and her roommate. In terms of learning to be tolerant for people that are different than you and that are atypical and neuroatypical. And so I just 2 episodes in and I'm hooked. My sister-in-law, Meredith, wrote to me last night saying, I saw your recommendation. I started the show. I love it immediately. So
Aw.
these are two very, that's two very differing points of view, I think, that have intersected on this show. So that I think gives it a strong recommendation. I watched Beast, which is Idris Elba and his daughters and Shartel Copley surviving a very angry lion. It looks like it was filmed in South Africa, and so that was very interesting. And this was a good plane movie. It was 90 minutes. It was open and shut story about father reconciling with his kids as they also look at the menaces of poachers and things like that.
Okay.
Great acting really helps a very straightforward movie be awesome. And I think particularly the end scenes with the lion, like the big climax, is truly terrifying. So that was
He's
a good
so great.
that was a good
it.
like rent. That was like a solid rent, like a rent you feel good about. Okay, then I saw this movie that I had always wanted to see. It's been in my queue forever. It was on the plane. I watched Hobo with a Shotgun, and I don't know if you've seen this. It's supposed to
I have
be
not
like
seen it.
a Canadian-made movie, Rutger Hauer, very grindhouse style. It was, I expected it to be more like Violent Night, like
And it
more on
wasn't
the action comedy, horror comedy. This was
just
brutally violent, like brutally violent. Like I had to stop watching it and rewatch it. But
If you saw me that day at school when I went to that activity at school, I could have played the part. How I was dressed when I showed up to school.
I talked to Vlad about it, and he saw it.
He had seen it
over 10 years ago. Yeah, because it was a festival darling like 10 years ago.
Really?
And I see why it was, because in some ways the original movies made like this, I'm not sure I wouldn't really super be into, but it's such a interesting homage to it, but it's so brutally violent and nihilistic that it's hard. I think you should watch it with your husband, because this is definitely, he'll probably think it's totally a straight comedy. And it definitely has a dark humor to it, but the violence in it is extraordinarily brutal. But it was very cool and delivers on its promise. I just started this. I haven't finished an episode of it yet, but wow, I had no idea. This show called The Calling. What channel is it on? Is it on Peacock?
I can look it up.
Can you look it up? The Calling. It's about like an Orthodox Jewish policeman.
Peacock.
Detective Avraham. You see Peacock, and he
Avraham
says Kaddish
Avraham.
for one of the guys. He's one of the murdered people. This guy is apparently very gifted at getting confessions, but when somebody dies early on, he says like a blessing and with a proper Hebrew accent. And so, I'm always
also his name is literally Avraham.
Yeah.
Why is that his name?
I'm very intrigued by this show. I feel
like that's like a very specific choice.
It sounds like this is bigger questions about propaganda aside, it sounds like this is a show where the character's pursuit of justice is connected to his religious identity, his Jewish identity. And so I'm intrigued to see where this goes. I don't have a ruling on it because I haven't finished an episode, but
it says, guided by a deep sense of spirituality and religious principles, NYPD Detective Avraham is left to question his own humanity when a routine investigation turns upside down. This, like, Dad is going to love this show.
Yeah, I'm super intrigued.
On Peacock. Why are more people not talking about this show? Interesting. Oh, probably because it stars.
Well, also, when you read it and you hear religious spiritual cop,
people
there's connotations with that.
Yeah.
Right. I think there's a lot of different ways you can write that description. You could say Jewish cop. You could say,
right. But directed by the great Barry Levinson.
Oh, wow. Okay. Barry Levinson's a genius. Okay. So I'm very intrigued by this. So I think those are, sorry. Last but not least, I'm going to close on this. Mark Maron's new special.
I can't wait to watch it.
Recommended by Kristen Farnham. I think it's called From Dark to Bleak. Is so deeply powerful. It's beyond just funny. It's definitely in this zone where comedians get, where they are talking about truly tragic things. He talks about grieving. The big climax of it is him talking about grieving the loss of his longtime partner, Lynn Shelton. But he also talks about dealing with his father aging and dementia and relationships with parents. and the planet and things like that. But he manages to tackle grief and sadness with a humor and with a Jewishness that is absolutely beautiful. And Mark Maron's a genius of our time.
His partner, his longtime partner too.
And it was George Carlin-esque because there is a theme of social justice in it where he is not one of those comedians making excuses for comedians who are, against woke.
That's refreshing.
Yeah, he's not. And so I appreciate it.
Cool. I mean, I feel like we've given the people what they want.
Yeah. This is
the spectrum of recommendations.
Yeah.
And I think we've also given Peacock what they want.
Yeah.
Geez, if we did the list, I feel like they're coming in.
I just think people should want to pay attention to it.
It's like HBO, Peacock.
Yeah.
Really front runners in this episode.
All right. Lil, where can people follow you?
At FNM Sisters on the gram.
You can follow
and
me
Becky.
And
hence the sisters.
You can follow me at Pancake and the number 4 table. You can follow all the Friday Night Movie shenanigans at Friday Night Movie or FridayNightMovie.com. Like I said at the top, South by Southwest, Austin, Texas. Here we come. We're going to be at the Wonder House at Cafe Blue, podcasting on the patio. It's going to be really cool. We saw this.
I'm so excited for you guys.
There's going to be LED walls, VR, science talks. University
Bands.
of Arizona does an amazing job with this. Bands. They're going to be showcasing Arizona artists, Arizona food. It's going to be amazing. And it's right in the center of the action. I mean, it's right by the convention center. So it's going to be wild. It's a landmark place that it's at. And so we're going to do that. And then the theme music is by What Does It Mean? And Lil.